I'm just so tired. I didn't get home till 1:30 last night.
What were you doing last night?
I just
Watch it with Golden Globes party? Were you watching the big awards show?
I watched 3 episodes of the OA.
What?
Dude.
What was last night?
This girl I met, I wound up meeting her the other night, went out with some friends.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm at the Comedy Cellar. And I sit down with her and her girlfriends and another comedian. So I'm talking to them. And then I realized they all kind of know each other. I think that they're all there with this comic. And then we're playing these weird games where, like, you pass a piece of paper around and you...
What are you at a slumber party?
Trust me. You draw the head of something. And then you fold it down, and then you pass it over, then you draw the body, and you each drawing on the paper, and then at the end you look at your funny drawings. This is what I'm doing on the weekend.
What?
I know. I'll tell you how I got roped into this.
Your quest to be normal is, like, so funny to me. I feel like you do these things that you wouldn't be doing if you were healthy.
No, here's what happened. I saw a girl. She was a blonde girl, and she had big feet, and I wanted to talk to her, so I started talking to her.
So you drew. So it was Mad Libs for sketches.
That's exactly what I said. It was like Pictionary or Mad Libs. So we do that for a while. And then I find I'm the guy. I'm like, "Are you on tonight? What time are you going on?" I forgot his name. And he goes, "I'm not a comic." I didn't even know him. So I basically just sat down with these 4 strangers and started playing fucking the equivalent of Mad Libs.
Right.
So there was a girl.
Who drew this torso? This is crazy. He's got bare feet, but he's wearing a sweatshirt. His feet would be so cold. I don't understand.
So I wound up going, like, all right, I'm going to get out of here. And then the one girl goes...
Was this on Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay.
She goes, hey, we're going to my house. Do you want to come? And then she's like, yeah, and Dove and Dan, 2 other comedians, are going to meet us there. So I'm like, all right, I'll go back there. And this is not the blonde girl, it's another girl. So I'm like, I'll go back, fuck it. What else am I going to do? I mean, I was hanging out with a friend, but she was out. So I'm like, I'll just go back. So I went back to the house, and we watched 2 episodes. She's a weird girl. We just watched 2 episodes of this new TNT show about
TNT.
Yeah, it's
Talk about a network that you do not hear about
behavior.
anymore.
Or bad behavior.
TNT used to be the home for drama. There is nothing that is spoken about on TNT anymore.
I'll tell you, this is
since Nitro.
This is the it's good behavior. About the girl who's a con artist and she gets caught up with this hitman for hire. It's not. It's very.
Oh my!
It's a thin plot.
Is it?
So yeah, it's thin. So
does it start to run dry as the episodes go?
Yeah, it started really good. It started great. Like the pilot episode starts really great. You're like, this is going to be a fucking excellent show. And then of course, like most shows, it's like oh. So I watched 2 episodes with that. She was sitting next to me on the couch, but there was other people. So I'm like, maybe there's a vibe here. I couldn't tell. There was a little body contact, nothing. But then it was time to go, and everybody left.
How do you know it was time to go?
Because everybody started getting up to leave, and she was like, all right, and she turned the TV off.
What?
Like at the end. We were there for like 3 hours.
I know, but that's a bummer, because you'd be like, oh, if everybody's leaving, like, you want to just hang out and watch a movie or something?
She made popcorn. I was eating popcorn. She gave me. It was just a childish night.
It really was. You're just eating popcorn, watching TNT, and then it was just time to go.
Well, I got home very late, went to bed, woke up, did what I did yesterday. Then she texts me.
Oh.
And she goes, "Hey, I'm having." We were joking around about. She said one time she had invited some guy over, who she thought she knew. But it turned out she knew him from Tinder. So he was a Tinder date. So he just showed up at her house while she had a bunch of friends over. So she was pretty funny. She said she did that by total mistake. And then the guy walked over and thinking that this Tinder date. Meanwhile, it's just a get together with her and her friends. It was awful.
She just like to have friends over?
She likes having friends over.
Okay.
So she invites me over. She's having some girlfriend over she's doing her hair. And she asked me if I want to get do I want to get a mask or whatever. But I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do that. It's silly. Wait.
Okay, so how old is this girl?
I don't know.
Give or take.
I don't. I'm gonna guess 26.
Okay,
27.
So girl in her 20s. You're hanging out with her. The first night, you're with friends. You're watching 3 episodes of a
TNT show.
Terrible TNT show.
I have the text message. Yeah.
And you have to just leave after that. After you're done watching the episodes, you just go home.
It was really late. And I didn't mind going home because they were actually really cool people. Like this guy, the guy who we were hanging out with.
Super cool.
I know. Trust me. I know. It sounds awful.
And this is actually, I forgot. You were drawing pictures with them.
Yeah.
But the
guy was pretty funny and he wasn't a comedian. But I'm almost like, they're just normal people I'm hanging out with.
You really do not have a celebrity aura about you.
No, I really don't.
No.
I just went to these people's houses and hung out and watched the TNT program.
And then she calls you the next day.
She texts
you, and she goes, I'm getting my hair done by my girlfriend.
No. Her friend was coming over doing her own hair. Her dyeing her own hair. And she was, at first she told me
what the fuck is going on? This is what 14-year-olds do.
I know.
We're going to try to dye our hair with highlighters. Do you want to come over?
She told me we're having some friends over, and do I want to come just hang? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like,
and get a mask.
She mentioned, my friend's doing her hair. Do you want to do anything like get a facial mask? I'm like, okay. I would do that. I wasn't doing anything. I was like, okay. So I go over there. It's just her and her girlfriend. And I asked her, do you want me to bring anything? Because I'm a shit guest. And she's like, some gummy bears would be nice. So I didn't want to eat bad. So I go across the street from my house. I get a giant salad for myself because they're going to order pizza. I don't want pizza. I get a giant salad for myself.
Oh, that's so cool.
2 dressings. I know.
What a cool move.
I know.
Nobody told me it was a bring your own salad party.
I know. I brought a salad to a 20-something-year-old girl's house.
BYOV, bring your own veggies, apparently.
So she gets me. I bring my salad. I bring gummy bears. I bring 2 RX bars, and I bring some fucking unsalted cashews.
What are you doing?
I brought raw unsalted cashews.
The RX bar should not have been your only protein treat of the night.
I know. I should have had a snack. So look, I wanted to have a healthy. I don't want to eat. I don't want to get a fucking fat from a girl I'm not even fucking.
Right, of course.
Because she was gonna pig out. She's young. So I get there, and we're sitting there, and she's like, "Guess what?" And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "I invited someone tonight." I'm like, "Who?" And she's like, "A Tinder date." She invited a Tinder date.
What are you doing?
So
this really does sound like you're visiting somebody in their dorm room.
She invites I'm like, why?
Well, how old are you, by the way?
I'm in my early 40s. I was 49 in July. And believe me, that occurred to me. That occurred to me as I was sitting there watching the OA. So we're watching the OA, me and her.
Is she crazy, this girl?
Well, she had some wine. Okay. And she says to me, I'm talking to her, and she's like, it'll be funny. And I'm like, he's gonna feel catfished. And she's like, no, I'm not pretending to be someone. And her friend thought it was funny. Her girlfriend was encouraging her. So I'm like, all right, I'm outnumbered. Do it. This guy's gonna hate it. But what am I gonna do? I mean,
would you think that was fun if you were on Tinder?
No, I am on Tinder. No, I wouldn't.
So if some girl was like, you should come over to my place. If there was some other girl and a guy just sitting there watching the OA.
No. So she didn't indicate that we were there. So she's like, he's not going to show up. I'm like, he's going to show up. But she's sitting next to me on the couch.
Right.
Like now there's no one on the sofa and she's sitting next to me.
Okay.
Which is nice. Like, like when someone's sitting next to you and like there's little arm contact. Nothing crazy, but they don't need to be. It's like the way me and you wouldn't watch TV.
Right. And maybe the Tinder thing is like this little mental connection. Like this is our little inside joke. She's trying to create some intimacy between you two. Maybe.
Possibly. So she's like, he's not going to show up. I'm like, he's going to show up. And then I say to her, I'm like, and then like an hour later, she's like, he's here. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, he's going to feel catfished. And when that word bugged her, she was like, you think so? I'm like, yeah, it's a Tinder thing. He's going to be he's going to feel like he's being made a fool of.
She probably watches the show on MTV.
I know she does. She's young.
Yeah.
And then she felt bad. She's like, I feel bad. Maybe he won't come up. I'm like, he's going to come up. So she writes, I say, text him that we're all here. So she writes, okay. She texts him that we're all here.
Right.
And then nothing happens. Like, I guess it spooks him.
He left?
No, he didn't. Oh. The doorbell rang 10 minutes later.
No.
This guy was a fucking trooper. So he walks in. He's not a bad looking dude. He looks like about 33, 34. He comes in and he's like awkward immediately. Like me and her on the couch, her friend's doing her hair. And then he walks in and he just starts checking his phone. He's like,
do you realize there's a possibility where he knows who you are?
I did think of that, but since no one else seemed to, I'm like, why should this be any different?
Like, so there wasn't this feeling in the room of this guy has a certain amount of celebrity to his name. It's kind of absurd that this is they didn't pick up on that.
None of them. I think could have cared less.
Right.
Which is fine. So I'm sitting there, and he gets on, and he's standing around, and she's drinking wine, and then he just sits on the couch next to us. And it's her and me and him on the couch. And she's sitting next to me. In fairness, she's not sitting next to him. And then he's just drinking some wine. We're commenting on the...
So she's in between you two?
But she's closer to me.
Okay.
We're commenting on the show, which is not a particularly... It's a weird show, I'll say that. So we're kind of goofing on it. We don't know exactly what's happening. It's hard to follow.
I've heard good things about it. I haven't seen it.
I've heard bad things.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a hard to follow show.
I hear you either like it or you don't. I hear the ending. If you don't like it, you're really going to hate it.
Okay.
Polarizing is what they're saying then.
That's a good word for it, Sam.
I see.
So we're watching this. We're kind of talking about it, like what the fuck's going on. We didn't know. And then he's like, I'm like, this guy's he was not a bad dude. He wasn't a dick.
Right.
Considering what he walked into, he's having wine and she's talking and he's pretty funny, so he's okay. And then I'm like, I just want this guy to fucking leave. I want to try to make out with this girl because she is sitting close to me.
Right. And what'd you go over there for? To watch the OA and get a facial mask?
And then he's like, is anybody hungry? I'm like, oh. And I was. But I didn't want him to be.
You had your salad and your RX bars.
They were up on the fucking thing.
Oh, so you wanted to bring down your salad when it was time for a mealtime.
But I didn't want him staying.
No.
So then he's like, I'm going to order some sushi. And the girls think it's a great idea.
Oh, no.
The girls think it's a great idea to order sushi. So this guy orders sushi. And then like 40 minutes goes by.
Is that what it... D-Bag, you're a young man.
Yes, I am.
Do you feel like I mean, I know you got a girlfriend, but you're on... Have you done Tinder or anything like that before?
Yeah, before.
So if you're on... say this same scenario pipes in. Mm-hmm. Is this the type of thing that you would do? Like, would you or just be like, oh, I'm hungry, let's order food to somebody else's house? Or...
I'd be out of there in 10 minutes.
You would be.
I'd walk in and say hi.
He probably wanted to leave, but again, it was an awkward thing to leave because there's nothing bad happening. So he was just trying to be quick because he didn't know the score. He could tell that she and I were sitting close together, but I don't think he knew there was another girl there.
There's another girl. He's trying to figure out what's the vibe here. What's going on?
Yeah, but he wasn't being an asshole. He was kind of going with it, and I liked him. I thought he was okay. But after a while, I just started to get so fucking angry. I'm like, I'm 48. I'm watching the OA with this. What am I doing in this fucking house?
Right. And honestly, like, just to protect your own self-esteem, there are moves that you have to make in life. You know what I mean? Like, this is why you come in at days feeling worthless, no matter what you accomplish.
Believe me, all of this occurred to me.
Yes.
And I said to myself, I kind of like this girl. I didn't know if I liked her, like if we had any real chemistry. But it's like one of those things where if I hang out with someone 2 nights in a row, I don't have to fuck them. But I wanted to. So I'm like, I'm just getting more and more annoyed. And her body contact was good. We were sitting together. That stuff does matter.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, then she was sitting like not quite as close. So I'm like, what am I fucking doing in this? I'm already.
Do you think she could pick up on your annoyance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was staring straight ahead. I like fucking
doing your Uber size.
Private Pile was happier on the toilet than I was in that fucking. So I said, I'm going to the bathroom again.
So he goes, hey, does anybody want to order food? And you just give him my head's still tilted down, but my eyes are looking up, Private Pile stare.
Yeah, hi, Joker. No, I didn't want food. So they'd already eaten the sushi. And the other girl was fine. She was nice. She was dyeing her hair. She was cool. So I'm like, I put my shoes on.
Yeah.
And I go to the bathroom. And I don't even come back to the couch. I get my jacket. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take off. She's like, all right. So I'm so angry. She doesn't even get up to hug me.
She just goes, see you later, like you're one of the guys?
Yep. So I wind up getting...
How'd you get friend-zoned in a day?
I wind up getting my RX bars.
You're not going to leave them behind.
and my almonds. And I put them in my pocket.
No.
And I leave. And I left my salad. So I'm so angry.
Oh, what a terrible evening last night was.
I go outside and I get into the cab and the guy's like, how's your night? And I'm like, awful. And I go home. And it's like, hold on, what time is it? I'll tell you in a second what time this is. Yeah, her friend wanted to dye her hair. Hold on.
And it's like you haven't watched the Golden Globes.
I forgot they were on.
You didn't get to sleep early for the show, like, and it's just. D-Bag, did you have a question?
Yes.
This was after. This was. Yes. Go ahead.
Whatever happened with the facial mask?
It never happened. That's a great question. It never happened. We didn't get to that. I was so annoyed.
Are we doing the mask or not?
So I wind up. I get a text in the cab.
Okay.
Sorry for the awkwardness. Should never have actually invited Tinder guy.
Okay.
So I write back. I just don't have enough time socially to do that. Like to fuck around. Like. If
That's what you wrote?
Yeah, I'm like,
Okay.
I wasn't mad. I'm like, I wanted to hang with you and your friends. I'm okay with. I was like letting her know it didn't have to be a fuck party. I'm like, but look at the bright side. I left. Now it's not awkward. So I'm like,
That's okay.
Whatever.
Did you say that literally? It didn't have to be a fuck party, but
No, I didn't
Okay.
mention. I think she understood.
Okay.
But when I walked out, I closed the door didn't close. It just bounced. Like, you know how it doesn't close all the way when you don't pull it? So I kind of left the door open, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. I ain't closing it.
Oh. Just high school Jimmy starts popping up.
It's funny. That's exactly what it is. You're walking out. You're just like, this is one of those. I am an awful. But I didn't want to. Here's why I didn't want to leave at first. I sat with this guy for like 2 hours. A part of me was like, I'm not going to get alpha male by some strange guy and just leave the situation. But secondly, it was like, I work in the morning.
Right.
I have a job to do.
Plus you should have, and your pride starts kicking in.
But I'm also like, why am I sitting here? The first part was, for the first hour, I'm like, look, the reality is this. I don't know who this guy is, and yes, she did something stupid. But when you're in that situation and you're leaving someone in an apartment with a strange guy, there is that weird, like, I know she brought on herself, she did it, but there is that thing as a male, like, you're like, is this guy a fucking... Am I walking out? Is something bad going to happen? But then after like 2 or 3 hours, he was fine. I could tell he was not a fucking... Who knows? He seemed okay.
Right.
But even after that point, I was like, I didn't care. I was like, I'm leaving.
You wanted to go into protector mode?
Not protector mode, but you just don't want to leave and have something horrible happen and go, that was avoidable.
Realizing that literally anybody that knows who you are would think exactly that about finding out that Jim Norton was in the apartment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know you had Jim Norton in the apartment, but who's this other guy?
So it was high school Jimmy I left. But I didn't leave.
Isn't that crazy, though, the way that like, mentally, that happens, no matter what we accomplish in our lives, that all it takes is one action of one girl who means nothing to you to bring you right back to the dude in high school that wasn't getting laid.
Well, if it validates what you already think,
Yeah.
yes. If it doesn't, then fine. But if it validates what you already think about yourself, then yes. So I walked out. I wouldn't say I was sad. I was more angry, like, oh, you fucking annoying cunt. Like, I wasn't even, I was more mad at myself for going over.
Right.
I wasn't even that mad at her because she and I didn't have any romantic connection. She was kind of doing it to be a goof. But
She was just a weirdo that was like, come over to my house.
Yeah, she wasn't being horrible. So she writes me, I said, I kind of wanted to hang with you or you and your friends. And she writes back, I feel bad. Likewise. She says, should I come to yours? I think they're leaving for Sapphires. She thinks this guy and her friend were leaving for a strip club. So I wrote, well, do you want to? And she writes back, I owe you. Thought that would be funny, but actually that was a pretty douchey move. Yeah, I do. It's frozen out, though. Where are you? So I was already back up in my apartment because she lives pretty close. Mm-hmm. But then I'm like, well, I'm still outside. I said I'd hop in a cab.
No.
I hopped in a cab.
No, you told her you were outside her building?
No, my building. No. I told
But you
her I
weren't
was home.
outside.
No, I just walked in.
So you had to go back downstairs, get a cab, and go back to her place.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, I wrote, my salad is still there. When are they leaving? And she wrote, they just left. So this, by the way.
Let me ask you something. Did you leave that salad there? No, like,
No,
sometimes
no.
A girl will leave her gloves at your place and be like, oh, I do have to come back. Like, when I first started dating Jess, her ex-boyfriend lived, like, way up in Connecticut. And when I was first, like, kind of, like, kicking it to her a little bit, the guy, she was like, oh, my ex is coming back because he said I left CDs in his car. And I was like, what? So I knew what was going on. You don't drive all the way back from Connecticut to give her some CDs. And then he gets there and he forgot the CDs, of course. So I was like, so that is obviously a deliberate move. People do it all the time.
No.
You don't think somewhere in your subconscious you left the salad purposely at the OA girl's house?
No, I'll tell you why. That's completely the opposite reason.
By the way, Ashley Butterfield on Twitter just tweeted a photo of Jim's face hanging out with Phoebe and Rachel and Ross and all the other friends.
That's Chip. It looks like Chip, actually.
Chip hanging out on the couch with the crew from
So,
Friends.
no, I actually, one of the reasons I stayed was because I knew this would be funny to talk about on the radio. It did occur to me, like, I got to talk about this on the air tomorrow.
Especially because it is like the greatest juxtaposition next to Adrian's Mary Jean story of like, yeah, I just texted her and she came over and she fucked my brains out and shoved her hand up my ass.
Exactly. But on the way out, I'm thinking to myself, this is why I spend the money I spend. Like, this is why, like, as I'm going down the elevator, I'm like, people wonder why I live this life. Like, oh, you're crazy. You're detached from humanity. But this is why.
Right.
This is what you deal with. So I get there. No, I actually didn't leave my salad. It would have been funny. It was too humiliating to take my salad in a shopping bag and walk out of it and walk out. So that was why.
And I'm taking my salad with me.
Exactly. That's
no
why.
bites for any of you.
That's why I left my salad.
I see.
So I came back.
You looked at it and went, I'm going to leave the salad behind. It'd be too fucking weird to walk out of the door with holding the shopping bag with a salad.
That was why I did. So I come back, and this guy's already gone with this other girl. By the way, whoever this guy is,
Yeah.
what a professional.
Yeah, you know, for every you.
This guy's a professional fucking operator. He walked into a weird situation, two girls, a guy. He not only fucking adjusts, he has a glass and a half, 2 glasses of wine. He's kind of being funny watching the show. Not a bad dude. He orders sushi for everyone. He's not a dick. He could have been a total dick. I leave. He doesn't even stay. I was almost like, I don't even care if she fucks. He doesn't even stay and try to fuck the girl. He takes the other girl to a strip club.
That's right.
What I hope he got laid. This guy's great.
For your theory of this is why I pay people because I don't want to have to deal with the hassle. You have guys that understand that without paying for anybody, they're able to answer a Tinder date, show up, wait till the cuck leaves the room, and then take the girl's friend and head to a strip club.
Maybe, but there's a lot of work involved with that. And there's also, he's sitting there just drinking with them. He probably has to go out and hang for a couple hours in the club. Does he get laid? Who knows? And by that time, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I do radio. I'm a little limited. Part of it is I like to cut out the bullshit you have to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of night. I'm like, these people don't work. Nobody works.
You like it 2 hours, we're done.
It's a long time, dude. Not even 2 hours. If you pay for a massage, whatever, it's an hour.
An hour. Yeah.
And I don't mind hanging with somebody, but in order to work for it, this guy might have been out till 4 o'clock in the morning and maybe didn't.
Right.
Because the night before that, when I was hanging out with all those girls, I didn't get anything. Just peck on the cheek goodbye. But it was a fun hang. I didn't care. The other dude was there who lives in her building. It was silly and it was fun. I didn't give a fuck. It was
so weird.
It was fun though. But they were nice people. I went home and watched The Crown, which is a masterpiece.
Right.
So I fucking I go back to her house. This guy's gone. She's very nice and she's apologetic. She's like, look, like she's actually a cool girl. She's like, I thought that'd be really funny, but it was kind of a dick move. I shouldn't have done that. And so we just go upstairs, and the fucking show is still on. It's on episode 9. And then we just sat there and made out for a little while.
Okay. So all's well that ends well.
All's well that ends well, but that was as far as I got. And then she's like, she's actually really funny, and she has a good sense of humor. So she was very fun to hang with, but she doesn't have to get up in the morning for work.
Right.
And she was bummed that I had to leave. I'm like, yeah, I got to leave. I gotta get up.
Do you think you could have done more than make out if you didn't have to leave?
It wasn't said, but it's possible, but I don't know. I won't say definitely yes because I don't always assume that stuff. But I had to leave, and she's like, "Oh, you do?" I stayed for like an extra 40 minutes, and came home. Like I left at 1. I'm like, I'll go home, be home in bed by like 1:30, whatever it was. So yeah, on the way in the cab home, my big dinner was 2 RX bars. I left the salad once again. She was so nice when I'm coming back. She felt so bad. She's like, "Do you want your salad in the bowl, or do you want me to put it on a plate for you?" Like when I was coming back, she was going to feed me my own salad. But I'm like, no. So I wound up eating 2 RX bars in the cab, and I went home and went right to bed like a good boy and slept for a couple hours.
That's very good. Look at you. You're kind of living like a college kid.
You know, it was a weird.
This is fun. Fun Jim.
It was a non-deviant night. So I didn't feel bad about that. Like
it seems like a non-deviant weekend unless
total
we're missing
weekend.
something.
Total weekend, non-deviant.